WCBI News at 6 starts now.
Good evening, everyone. The Bruce Police Department has a new leader, and he's a familiar face.
Alderman appointed Tony Sockwell as the city's new police chief. The position came open after longtime Chief Stan Evans passed away last month. Sockwell is a Bruce native and has been with the police department for 8 years and in law enforcement for almost 20. He says he's honored and he's looking forward to his new role.
Do about what we've been doing. Bruce is a nice town, been real safe, and we want to keep it that way. So we're going to be fair and honest and firm.
And the department has 8 full and part-time officers.
Alderman also named an assistant chief. That spot's been vacant for some time now.
Both the chief and assistant chief started with the department in 2008, just a month apart. Now the two men are starting their new roles together. Our Jory Talley joins us in the studio with more.
An assistant police chief hasn't been a title for someone in the Bruce Police Department for around a decade. The Bruce mayor and alderman changed that Tuesday night when they chose Officer Brian Roberts for the new position.
8 full-time and part-time officers make up the Bruce Police Department. And the small department recently suffered a big loss, losing longtime Chief Stan Evans to cancer. After he passed away, there wasn't anyone to immediately step in and run the department.
When Stan was here, when he was gone, you know, there was really nobody in charge, and we don't really want that. We need somebody in charge of where the world is today. You need somebody in charge even when the police chief's gone.
The department hasn't had a second in command in 10 to 12 years.
Stan was, you know, he could do anything and everything, and he didn't really want one. That was the main reason we didn't have one, is because he didn't want one. So, you know, but he could do it. He could manage it some way. But we've taken a lot of the work off of the police chief now with an assistant, so that's why we did it.
Mayor Rudy Pope and aldermen knew exactly who they wanted to hold the title when they decided to bring the position back.
Since Stan had been sick for a long time, Brian had been taking care of all the scheduling and all that kind of stuff, so we thought it was just only fair to let him go ahead and, you know, be the assistant chief.
New Assistant Chief Brian Roberts not only took over paperwork, but also the chief's open spot for 3 weeks until a new chief was selected. Roberts believes an assistant chief is a necessity, especially after dealing with the loss of their beloved boss.
No one knows what tomorrow holds, and I think you need somebody that knows what's going on and can step in and just kind of, if the chief's not available, then somebody can step in there and keep everything going the way it should be going.
Roberts was raised and went to school in Bruce and says the new title is bittersweet.
It is an honor that the board did see fit to appoint me as assistant chief, that they have the confidence that I can do the job. And I'm going to do it to the best of my ability and serve them the best I can.
Roberts started out with the department as part-time and went full-time in 2012. He believes having an assistant chief will help make a smooth transition in the future if something were to ever happen to the current chief.
Starkville leaders are trying to get traffic to flow more smoothly. Alderman approved a plan to install bollards throughout town at its recent meeting. Bollards are safety posts used to help ease and divert traffic. They're oftentimes seen sticking up in the road, but they can be lowered when not in use. Mayor Lynn Spruill says most of the posts will be in the downtown and Cotton District areas.
We're hoping for some exciting events and that those bollards will make pedestrians feel safe and reduce the burden of manpower on our police. So that increases their ability to do other jobs and keep still our residents and our visitors safe in those event areas.
Mississippi State also uses bollards on campus to help control crowds on game day.
A new chicken ordinance will soon be flying into Monroe County after supervisors voted it down last month. Supervisors brought the issue up again Monday night. Supervisors voted 4-1 to change the current chicken industry ordinance and adopt a new one. The rules will double the required distance between chicken houses and homes or businesses beyond what is required by the State Department of Environmental Quality. Chicken houses now have to be 1,200 feet from a dwelling and 300 feet from a property line. The proposal was first discussed after residents had concerns about more chicken houses popping up and growing in the area.
The fate of a Columbus man will once again be in the hands of a Lowndes County jury.
Testimony wrapped up today in a capital murder trial. Scott Martin is standing by live at the Lowndes County Courthouse with the latest for us.
Andre, enjoy the last long few days will soon come to an end here at the Lowndes County Courthouse. The jury is expected to meet right back here tomorrow morning to get their instructions, hear closing arguments. Then they will begin deliberating this case. Derek Bankhead, he is accused of killing his cousin Eddie Bankhead during an armed robbery back in July of 2011. Bankhead was convicted in September of 2016 in Lowndes County Circuit Court. However, that verdict was overturned. Bankhead's attorney learned that District Attorney Scott Colomb was a stand-in defense attorney for Bankhead during a preliminary hearing that was held in 2011. The State Attorney General's office is prosecuting this case. Of course, we'll continue to follow this as the latest develops. For now, reporting live at the Lowndes County Courthouse, Scott Martin, WCBI News.
Lowndes County deputies released the charges a man faces after being on the run for hours and allegedly taking his estranged girlfriend. 19-year-old Austin Tedford is charged with kidnapping, burglary, resisting arrest, and domestic violence. He also faces some misdemeanor charges. Law enforcement searched for Tedford for 5 hours just off Highway 50 East. Investigators say Tedford abducted his estranged girlfriend, Carrie Pennell. Pennell and a witness went to pick Tedford up at a home on Tuesday morning. While talking with the homeowner, a witness heard screaming and saw Tedford jump into a vehicle with Pennell. A deputy spotted the car they were in about 5:15 Tuesday evening, and that's when a pursuit started. The vehicle eventually stopped and Tedford ran away. Law enforcement attempted to surround the Harrison Road area and called a helicopter in to help, but it was information from a resident that led to Tedford's arrest.
We got a tip from somewhere, and Mr. Tedford was actually taken into custody at a business within the city. He was found in the trunk of a car. Once the trunk opened up, once again a short scuffle ensued with law enforcement. He was taken into custody.
The victim was not injured. Time now to turn things over to weather. Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson is standing by with your first look at the forecast. Keith?
Hey Joey, right now in Columbus we are at 44 degrees, overcast conditions, quiet conditions across our region right now, widespread 40s here across northeast Mississippi and west Alabama. We have what looks like some rain falling in the area, but that air is still pretty dry, so the better rain chance is just to our south, and that's where it will be as we go throughout the evening and tonight. So if you're venturing on out, the jacket's needed, a chilly one, fairly light wind, 30s showing up later on this evening and tonight, low 30s north, mid to upper 30s south. Your full forecast in just a few minutes.
An early morning fire destroys an Oktibbeha County home, 2 cars, and several outbuildings. Oktibbeha County Fire Service Coordinator Kirk Rosenhan tells WCBI News the fire started shortly after midnight at 182 Oliver Jackson Road. Now, Rosenhan says when firefighters got there, the house was engulfed in flames. No one was injured. The cause of the fire still under investigation tonight. Well, response training courses are required for potential firemen to join the fire department, but in certain situations it can be impossible to arrive in time.
After that fire this morning in Oktibbeha County, firefighters are encouraging rural residents to have their homes prepared for sudden fires. Our Parker King speaks with the county fire coordinator and joins us live in the studio with more. Parker.
For this time, there were no deaths or injuries, but that's not the case every time. So to keep that from happening, rural homes need to have the proper fire safety tools to keep residents safe until firemen arrive.
When cold weather blows through, firemen are on alert.
We always worry about the heating season with portable heaters, extension cords.
After the call was made around 1:30 early Wednesday morning, it was only a matter of minutes before firefighters responded. And even then, it was too late.
The Central Oktibbeha Department and the District 5 Department responded. Upon arrival, they found a house fully involved.
County Fire Coordinator Kirk Rosenhan says it's not a lack of response training. It's simply the location of the fire.
Of course, we do driver training. We have emergency vehicle operators courses, but the response times is just a function of where you live and where the fire is. Distance is always a problem.
To keep fires at bay or at least minimize injuries, firemen encourage all residents to equip their house with proper fire prevention kits like fire extinguishers.
That is always a problem, and we urge everybody to have a couple smoke detectors. And also we advise people that have gas heat and so forth to get a carbon monoxide detector.
Rosenhan also wanted to mention that on December 16th, the Red Cross, Starkville volunteers, and fire departments will be giving out free smoke detectors to residents.
Just ahead, some Smithville students say their favorite teacher meets the highest standards.
We meet our Educator of the Week when we come back.
Welcome back, everyone. One measure of success is how others respond to you. By that gauge, our Educator of the Week must be doing something right. Angel Blair teaches third grade math at Smithville Elementary School. She's loved so much by her class that sometimes the students slip and call her mom. Learning about different measurements in the third grade can be a challenge, but Mrs. Blair manages to handle the weight of it all. She says teaching is her calling, and her passion for the field immeasurable.
I really believe that this is my ministry, that this is where God put me, and that He wants me to help these kids. I get really attached to my class every year, and I think a lot of times they'll call me mom because we just have that where they're third graders.
And sometimes my daughter calls me Mrs. Moore. Last year, Blair's students finished third in the state for their math scores. Her class the year before came in first place.
All quiet here in Vernon this evening. You can see quiet conditions, dry conditions, not a lot of moisture expected here. We are very close to some rain, maybe even some frozen precipitation just to our south. The latest is next. Stay with us.
WCBI's Educator of the Week is brought to you by Food Giant, where your neighbors are the owners. Your first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
So nice to see you on this Wednesday evening, 6:17 across our area. We are looking at a clean sweep, dry conditions. I was out at Stokes Beard Elementary School right there in East Columbus earlier today, talking to the second graders about severe weather. Hello, we had a great discussion today about severe weather. We looked at some tornadoes that have occurred in our region during the past 9-10 months. And also talked about weather safety, and there are all the kids right there. So we'd love to go out into the schools. We have another one lined up for tomorrow. This is our Alpha Insurance time lapse in Vernon today. You can see the overcast conditions this afternoon. If you look closely right there, very subtle in nature. We had some rain trying to fall from those clouds. It's still trying to fall from those clouds. We call it Virga, not really going to reach the ground around here. However, look at this. Wintry mix is possible in this little stripe from southern Mississippi into parts of Alabama, along in really southeast of I-2059. This would be Thursday night, Friday morning, right there. Not tonight, not tomorrow, but tomorrow night and the Friday morning, there's a chance for some wintry precipitation in the region. Now, we've actually had a little bit of sleet reported with some of these heavier showers across southern parts of Mississippi and Alabama today. And look at that moisture feed. It goes all the way back into Texas. This is like a dead of winter weather pattern here. We've got cold Arctic air across the northeast. We have this moisture coming on in from the Gulf of Mexico and the Pacific. That moisture is overriding the cold air. We're getting the chilly rain now, but later tomorrow night and Friday morning, some of that could mix in with a little bit of snow. 40s right now in our region right now, a little bit cooler down to our south. Dew point value is still pretty low, so that dry air is eating away at anything that's trying to fall from those clouds overhead right now. We'll take it down into the 30s tonight, mainly cloudy or planner. Tomorrow 30s initially, and then we will break back into the mid to upper 40s. If you're lucky, you'll see a little bit more sunshine. Not a lot of sun expected tomorrow, but it's possible. And if you do see that, we may get up to about 50 degrees. Here's Futurecast picking up on the better rain chances here as we go throughout the course of the night and for tomorrow. Now look at what happens tomorrow night and the Friday morning. There's that little stripe of wintry precipitation. This could shift up a little bit more to the north than what you see right here, but all the information we've looked at here at WCBI suggests that any frozen precipitation of consequence would stay to our southeast. So we do not have to worry about that. And essentially the 7-day forecast is looking fairly dry into the middle of next week. Just some up and down conditions, 40s, 53 on Saturday, 60 Monday, but a lot of 40s there.
A new leader takes over the successful Starkville High School athletics program. Hear from the new athletic director next in sports.
WCBI Weather School is brought to you by Emerson Animal Hospital in West Point. WCBI Sports with Tom Ebel is brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Go further.
It's an athletic director's dream to take over a program with state title caliber teams up and down the board, and that's exactly the situation for the Starkville Yellow Jackets. The high school officially announces Dr. Cheyenne Trussell as its new athletics director. Trussell served as the assistant AD for the Jackson Public School District from 1999 to 2002, and most recently served as executive director of student services and activities in Hattiesburg. Trussell plans on taking an already successful sports program to new heights.
My vision is to take the state by storm, on that. That's my vision. With all of the resources that we have here, just the culture is already a winning culture on it. And so it's just a matter of being able to compete at every level. I want to make sure that every sport is treated as a major sport because it is major to that student athlete. I want to be able to not only meet with my coaches and student athletes, but be able to build the relationships or continue the relationships within the community.
The 2017 high school football season for our viewing area comes down to one team. The Pickens County Tornadoes will make the trip to Bryant-Denny Stadium Thursday with redemption on their minds, hoping to bring home the 1A state championship trophy back to Reform. WCBI's Jonathan Flippo has more.
The Pickens County Tornadoes are coming. The team has rolled through the postseason to get back to the 1A state championship game. The team knows the playoffs started a new season for them.
I don't say it's been a challenge because us as a team, we're better than anybody. So, yeah.
Throughout the playoffs, we have worked harder because the teams have got harder to play, but we have worked harder to overcome. And yes, we know, we said, just like I said last time, we were going back to state, and we're here, and we're going to claim what's ours.
The playoffs for us is exactly, what we've expected. Tough games. You got to play 4 quarters and sustain for 4 quarters.
The Tornadoes last won the state title back in 2013. Then last year, they came close. The difference from last year to now, the coach says, is that these players are more team-oriented.
I say the drive to win is a lot stronger. We're hungry. We want it more. We want a lot more.
Our kids, they remember that feeling last year, and for them, it's what's fueled us. It's what's fueled us all year, being able to get to that game last year and come up short. They remember that feeling, so we feel really good going into it.
The team that stands in Pickens County's way of a state title victory is Sweetwater, so they'll know what type of challenge is expected ahead of them.
The running game is very strong, and we have to be disciplined because they run the winning team the whole night. So, we're going to have to watch that.
Those guys have the tradition of winning state championships. We're expecting a tough game. For our guys, it won't be anything new, and for them, like I said, the tradition for them. So we're expecting a tough game.
Pickens County and Sweetwater will kick off at 3 p.m. on Thursday in Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa.
1, 2, 3, grind on me. 1, 2, 3.
Right. In Reform, Jonathan Flippo, WCBI Sports.
WCBI Student Athlete of the Week with Jonathan Flippo is brought to you by C Spire Wireless.
Well, with this, we're usually not supposed to be biased, but hey, rooting for Pickens County. They're our last high school football team left.
Yes.
So no more end zones, no more that. So we're rooting for them to bring the state championship back to Reform.
That's right.
They lost last year. Why not do it again?
Yeah, and they've won recently. The great program.
Yeah, 2013 was the last time they won, so they're looking to bring another ball back to Reform.
There you go.
All right. Good luck to them.
We'll be right back. Stay with us.
You know, we're kind of in this sweet spot here. We've got some cooler temperatures. We've got some clouds, but the rain will stay to our south. That wintry potential will stay to our south probably. So we're doing okay here.
Yeah.
And, you know, we got a rain yesterday and dry for the next week.
Hey, we'll take it.
I always sort of feel like we're in the sweet spot, though, you know.
Well, yeah, you know, we are. So, there you go.
All right.
Well, I know you'll be keeping a close eye on that.
Yes.
And there's temperatures in the 20s. We talked about pipes earlier.
Yes.
Yeah.
Still the forecast. Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone. Have a great night.